Chair, Lion leaders, my brothers and sisters. In today's world, everyone are busy. Being busy is only a state of mind. And here is someone who personifies that statement. A medical technocrat that he is, he stands as a perfect example of how to balance professional work, family, and social service, and making life inspiring to all of us in every step. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today's chief guest, whom I know from close quarters, a great movie fan, but however, I feel today he is donning the role of a hat-trick hero in the Lions arena. For he was the chief guest during my cabinet installation in 2016, was the chief guest at the recently held district convention of 317 of DG Vinutta Prakash, and today he is with us in this 14th multiple convention of our very dear Vasant, hosted by our beloved leader Sanjit. Dr. Bhujang Shetty, a Rajyotsava awardee in 2010, is the founder chairman and managing director of the Narayana Nethralaya Eye Hospital, Bangalore. Born in a village near Kundapur in the year 1953, he spent his first 10 years there and later traveled to Bangalore and finished his schooling from the Baldwin's Boys High School. He did his MBBS from the Bangalore Medical College in 1978 and did his master's in ophthalmology from the Regional Institute of Ophthalmology, Minto Eye Hospital in the year 1982. Dr. Kallakeri Bhujang Shetty is one of the leading luminaries in the field of ophthalmic healthcare in the country. He founded the Narayana Nethralaya in 1982, which has now grown up to have 5 hospitals. In fact, Narayana Nethralaya is consistently the top 5 tertiary eye centers in India. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last 3 financial years alone, Narayana Nethralaya has discounted rupees 21 crores in subsidy for free surgical care for the poor throughout our state. Dr. Shetty's charisma has led to one of the best eye banking success in the country. Reputed to be one of the state's largest and the most yielding eye banks, it caters to over 50% of the state's utilization of corneal tissue, with over 150,000 eye pledges. The backlog of corneal blindness in Karnataka has been significantly reduced due to the untiring efforts of Dr. Shetty's organization. He is responsible for keeping the eyes of Dr. Rajkumar and Puneet Rajkumar alive. Since 2019, Dr. Bhujang is personally involved in a lifestyle-changing and diet-driven program aptly called the Reversing Diabetic Clinic at his institute. While it aims primarily of controlling diabetics through food medication, it also involved in other chronic and non-communicable diseases and degeneration across all ages. The unique contribution of Shetty's institute includes child blindness prevention. Its flagship program, Kid Drop, the Karnataka Internet-Assisted Diagnosis for Retinopathy of Prematurity, which was initiated in 2007 in Karnataka, has so far performed 210,000 imaging sessions and prevented blindness in over 3,150 babies who were less than 2 months of age. Narayana Nethralaya is performing free screening and treatment for all the babies born in the government hospitals for the last 15 years. This is the largest such endeavor in the world and is internationally recognized, including the Harvard Business Review, which has called it an example of reverse innovation for the West to emulate. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, I can only say Dr. Shetty exemplifies a unique character with multiple hats, pushing all limits of human capabilities in the interest of society. From the yeoman services rendering boon to the sight to those living in darkness, to reversing diabetics, he is an asset to humanity. The Lions Multiple 317 is proud to have him with us as a chief guest. Married to my sister Rajkamal, he is the proud parent of Naina and Dr. Narayana Shetty. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you the great luminary Dr. Bhujang Shetty.
It is a novel of achievement, great achievement, success. What a performance, what an exemplary example of hallmark of brilliance, ladies and gentlemen. Very lucky to have him over here. So hereby I welcome Dr. Bhujang Shetty to address the gathering, your inaugural address, sir. Okay, lighting the lamp, sir, sorry.
Presiding Officer Vasant Kumar Shetty, Chief Guest Mr. Babu and Krishna Reddy, other dignitaries and lions on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I must say it's a great honor to be here, and I am grateful and thankful to the host committee, especially Vasant Kumar Shetty and Arun, who have given me this honor. I also want to like to thank Arun for those gracious words. And having heard all the wonderful activities that Lions have taken up, I must, in the beginning, compliment and congratulate each one of you for the fantastic work that you all have been doing. Well, if you invite a doctor for any function, as I say, he will talk about health. You can't expect anything else from him. And Arun described me as an eye surgeon, but I'm sorry I may disappoint you, because I'm not going to talk about the eyes. I want to talk about health as a whole, where food as medicine. Now recent evidence suggests that all the modern, can I have the slide please? It suggests that all the so-called modern diseases, every single one of them, they are chronic, irreversible, and we need to take medicines from day one till we die. They are called chronic metabolic diseases. All of them, starting from obesity to blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, heart, kidney, brain, all these problems. Once you're diagnosed, and you need to take medicine for each one of them. But now, our science has shown that we have got into this mess because of the wrong foods that we eat. And if food is the cause, food needs to be the solution. So, today I'll be talking of food as medicine. Is it possible or not? Well, as you know, every time we suffer from any one of these diseases, be it blood pressure, dementia, diabetes, infertility, arthritis, you name it, autoimmune disease, every modern disease, we run to different doctors and different doctors give us different medicines and you are a patient for life. That is the current thinking, very sad. But the recent research now shows that all these diseases have a common cause, and that is you have developed what is called carbohydrate intolerance. And that leads to what is called insulin resistance. You all must be knowing what insulin is. Before going further, I'll just tell you what carbohydrates are. Most of you must be knowing. Most of you, some of you must have heard me a number of times, and you must be wondering why I keep repeating the same talk. That's because more you teach, more you learn. Every time you reread a book, you don't find more in the book than you did before, but you find more in yourself than you had before. So carbohydrate means simple: sugars, sweets, and hidden sugars, as in grains. Grains andre rice, ragi, roti. Whether it be from wheat, corn, or millet, oats, all these are grains. So excess of this intake, and especially refined variety, because current food is heavily processed and refined, your blood sugar shoots up, and to control the blood sugar, insulin shoots up, and because you are constantly eating the same food, the insulin just remains extremely high for a long period and causes what is called insulin resistance, which is the root cause for every single disease. Period. So, currently what we are doing is we are giving symptomatic treatment. Blood pressure high, take blood pressure tablets. Sugar high, take sugar tablets. Knee problem, tablets or operation. Brain problem, again the same. But that's become chronic and it's a one-way street because you are addressing only the symptom, not the cause. That's the problem now. Alright? So why we are against carbohydrate? Insulin, in sugar especially, diabetes, we run after the blood sugar and hit it very hard with every possible medicine we have, including insulin injections. But I'm sorry to say that sugar is only the side kick. As I told you, the culprit is insulin. And what stimulates insulin? Carbohydrates. That is sweets and grains. That's exactly what we eat from morning to night. 90% of our diet consists only of that. That carbohydrate stimulates insulin the most. So if you want insulin to come down, you have to reduce these foods or eliminate it altogether. Of course, protein is necessary. Some amount of protein you can have. It does stimulate to some extent. But look at fats. Absolutely no insulin response. So if you want insulin to come down, we need to cut down on carbohydrates and increase fats. Well, the whole problem today, we diagnose diabetes by testing of blood sugar. It is very sad, but now it has been shown that you've been sick for decades, 5, 10, 15 years before this blood sugar goes up. So every time you test your blood sugar normal, you are happy, doctor's happy, you go eating all the wrong foods all the time. What happens 10, 15, 20 years before blood sugar starts rising is that your sugar needs to be very tightly controlled by insulin. So every time the sugar shoots up, insulin production starts rising. And the insulin production can go up by 10 times for more than 10 to 15 years till your blood sugar goes up. So today you are catching diabetes, if you compare it to cancer, in the 4th stage. If you really tested for your insulin levels, you could have caught it 5, 10, 15 years earlier, and better off you could have taken precautionary treatment. This is the problem. Right? But every time we get any of these diseases, especially diabetes, sir, my father had it, my mother had it, I inherited it, I have no option. I'm sorry, you're wrong. Because it has been shown in twins, identical twins who have similar genes, were they to separate after maybe 10, 15, 20 years, one goes to the west, one stays back in the village, and they meet after 20, 25 years, they will have totally different diseases. The person staying back in the village who would work from morning to evening in the fields will have fantastic health, whereas the person who has gone to the west to work because of his lifestyle and processed foods, junk food, he would have all the possible diseases. So genes, of course, do play a role, but genes are like seeds. You just throw the seeds on this floor, do you expect it to sprout? It will not. But you put it out in the soil, give it nice fertilizer, air and water, and then it will sprout. So also, if you have the genes, if you give all the environment, it will sprout. If you do not, environment is actually much more stronger than your genes. Genes now, there is a branch of medicine called epigenetics. You can turn them on, turn them off, depending on your lifestyle. So if you don't provide the environment, you need not have diabetes. But it's an alarm. I have a family history of diabetes. I better be careful right now. It is not what you ate yesterday that's showing up today. It's what you ate 20 years back is showing up today. So don't blame your parents. The sad part is that this is the official food pyramid recommended some 50 years back, and it's now recommended, first started in the US, now all over the world. And what they say is that you must eat. At that time, people were becoming fat and they were getting heart attack. They said some problem in the diet. Only problem is they got the wrong person. They blamed the fat for everything. They created fat fear. And they said, and glorified carbohydrates. They said 50% of your energy must come from these carbohydrates. That means around 300 grams of carbohydrates you must eat every day. I must remind you friends, the total amount of sugar in the 5 liters of blood is just 1 teaspoon, 5 grams. And when you eat, say 300 grams of sugar, carbohydrates every day, you are putting into the blood 60 times more sugar than the blood can handle. No wonder it will break down. So that's exactly what happened. And see what happened. Following this advice, when I was a student in 1980s, the world had less than 30 million diabetes. And in today, this is 2021, it's 530 million. Now it must be 600 million. That means it has gone up 20 times, 2000%. Following the food advice. We as doctors need to introspect whether we have gone wrong, whether our advice has been wrong. With all the modern medicines, with all the modern technology, something has gone through the roof and we still keep advising this. There is something wrong. So what we need to do is we need to turn the food pyramid upside down. The fat fear that we caused need to be demolished. And healthy fat, because it does not stimulate insulin, must be the foundation of our diet, and then you will see what happens. Well, first thing is of course sugar. Just I think few weeks back addressing 317E, I told about the dangers of sugar. We all think sugar is okay, sugar is harmless, and everything, every festival, every celebration, anniversary, birthday, I'm sure you must be having fantastic lunch getting ready. After eating full meal, you will go for the dessert. Actually, you've already eaten 200 maybe calories or double the amount of calories even before you hit the dessert. But because sweets are there, it is irresistible and we keep eating it. I'll just spend a few minutes and telling you what these sugars are doing. Look at what has done. We have been growing for this took us millions of years to come to this stage. And see what's happened just in 50 years. What we gained in millions of years, because of the junk food and excess of sugar, we have lost it in 50 years. When I was a student just 40 years back, more people died because of undernutrition. And today, more people die because of overnutrition. That's because of the excess of food and junk food. And there, sugar everywhere. The industry has taken a liking for sugar because when we said that fat is dangerous, they had to remove fat from food. When you remove fat from food, you have removed the flavor from food. And then what happens? Food tasted like cardboard. Say they brought sugar through the back door so that at least it will taste like sweet cardboard. So there are 56 different names in the industry uses to hide sugar in all these processed foods. That's the dangerous. Sugar is sugar in all forms. People say, can I have jaggery? Can I have honey? No. It just gets into the blood as glucose. Very dangerous. It is everywhere. Everywhere. Excess of this is the cause for the current question. And the first sign of excess of this body fat is a pot belly. If you have a pot belly, I would call you stage 1 diabetic, whether your sugar is up or not. You would have what is called internal fat. That means fat in your arteries and heart and liver and kidney and pancreas. So this is a very dangerous sign. And they say the longer the waistline, shorter the lifeline. So be very careful. Anybody who has got a pot belly is in this stage. All right? But people who are normal weight, normal belly or underweight, you are still not out of the wood. Because you have seen some very skinny people having BP, sugar, heart problem, cholesterol. So 40% of the people who are this kind of a normal weight also suffer from it. So this is what is called TOFI, thin on the outside, fat on the inside. So you also need to be careful. All right, I'll just tell you what this sugar does. It damages your brain, leading to dementia, strokes, Parkinsonism, and Alzheimer's. These things are increasing by the day. Alzheimer's is even today called type 3 diabetes. And in the eye, being an eye surgeon, I must tell you that just the other day I read 3 million Indians are at the risk of going blind. With all technology, with all these doctors, we are not able to hold. Even in the so-called developed countries, commonest cause for blindness is diabetic retinopathy. With all the treatment, we are not able to hold back. All right? And we blamed fat for heart attacks. 75% of the people who have heart attacks are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. And 50% of the people who get heart attacks have normal cholesterol. So who is to blame? Not the fat, but the sugars to blame. 50% of the people who go on dialysis, kidney failure because of diabetes. Minimum 1 lakh people lose their limbs in our country itself because of diabetes. And your immunity reduces. You recently have known COVID. All of us must have lost a friend or a relative in that. Who are the ones who became serious? Who are the ones who became sick and went into the ICU and passed away? They say they are the people with comorbidities. They are the same disease that I just mentioned. Sugar reduces your immunity. And sugar is incriminated from cold to cancer. Current research shows that it is sugar at the root of everything. And one line I must say, what's happening to children? Because we think it is harmless, we stock it all the time, and then children enjoy it, we love to give them and we eat them. We stock them in the fridge, all the cakes, the candies, the ice creams, the chocolates. Children have become addicted. So much so that today we are seeing adult diseases in children. When I was a student 40 years back in the medical college, any fatty liver or liver cirrhosis, will be a 50-60-year-old guy, and we'll say he's an alcoholic. You ask him, yes sir, kuditini. Kudiyad bidu illedre you will die. Because that time he never had liver transplant. But today, do you know that almost 10 to 15% of children have fatty liver? That's from sugar. Sugar is like alcohol. It is both toxic and addictive. And children, because of excess of that, they are becoming fat, they are becoming sick. You get, teens are getting diabetes and heart attacks in 20s. They used to say 4 decades ago, it was a 30-year-old son that's bringing the 60-year-old father for heart problems. Today, it is a 60-year-old father bringing the 30-year-old son for heart problems. So, if you want your children to have a normal life, just try to reduce the amount of sugar that they are taking. That's sugar, as I say, like alcohol, like tobacco, like drugs, it's addicting. And children very easily get addicted to it. Even adults, I ask them, you're so sick and you've got so many problems, why don't you give up sugar? Sir, that, or don't help, sir, very difficult, I can't. I said, if you don't do that, you may have to give up your ice tomorrow. You choose sugar or your ice. That's how serious it is. So, is sugar the new tobacco? It is worse than tobacco actually. Tobacco may be causing just lung cancer and heart diseases. This, I told you, causes almost every single disease that we can think of. So, last generation we waged a war against tobacco, and today we need to wage a war against sugar. All right, so to tell you that in simple words, sugar is sweet, slow poison. Every single person seated in this audience, if you are a diabetic, if you are a pre-diabetic, if you have a family history of diabetes, or if you do not want to become a diabetic, just get sugar out of your life. All right? That's one thing, sugar. But then other carbohydrate, that's what's called grains. Rice, ragi, roti, RRR, very popular these days. And the roti could be from wheat or, corn, millet, oats, all this 70 to 80% sugar. You eat it here, even doctor says don't eat white rice, eat brown rice. But just a matter of minutes before it goes as glucose into your blood. And you can't tolerate glucose. So, you need to literally go against the grain and figuratively go against the grain. And I'll tell you how. You may say, well, if you ask me to do all this, there's hardly anything to eat. Well, we have come out with a recipe book. I have given the soft copy to Arun. If you all want, I'll ask him to pass it on to you all. You all can see how easily there are hundreds of recipes you can follow. Look at the amount of sugar. Carbohydrate means sugar in each of these. They say ragi is good. They say millet is good. See the amount of sugar in that. And I am not able to tolerate. Diabetic means you have become intolerant to this. All right? And in regular food, one bowl of rice has got about more than 10 teaspoons of sugar. And I told you last time, blood cannot have more than 1 teaspoon at a time. And every meal we are putting 10, 20 times more into our food by eating this stuff. So we need to choose a food that is least in carbohydrates and sugar, that is vegetables. And for non-vegetarians, of course, egg, meat, and fish has absolutely no sugar. So it's easy. And one more thing I'd like to say. The WHO recommended amount of sugar per person is 6 teaspoons. But we consume more than 26 teaspoons per day. That means in a year, we consume more than 40 to 50 kgs of sugar per person per year. How will the body not break down? This is and we think, all right, let's not have bakery products, worst of the worst. It has refined carbs, refined oil, and refined sugars. So biscuit and buns also must be gone. And fruits, vegetable and fruits, they put in the same basket. You can't criticize them. I'm sorry to say that fruits are hybridized, increase in size, and increase in sugar. And if you are hale and healthy, you can have maybe just one fruit, but never ever make juice and drink it, because you would have used 3, 4, 5 of them and then just thrown away it into the garbage, the good fiber, and you're drinking only the sugar syrup. So never drink your fruit, especially if you want to reverse your diabetes. You have to get away from that. Look at what they have done to the fruit, how it has been genetically modified. I still remember 40, 50 years back in my village, seeing watermelon the way it is on the left side. And here you have the amount of sugar in each of these things. When your body can't tolerate it, you can't eat it. That's all. It's as simple as that. And one other thing you need to get out of is these modern, refined, processed oils. I said fat is healthy. What is unhealthy fat is these oils that come in these bottles. They may be cheap, but you will have to pay a very heavy price in the form of your health. All right. This is just a photo of from a textbook written 100 years back. Insulin was discovered in 1921. Before that, we've known diabetic for more than 3,000 years. How were they treating it? Exactly with food. And this is from that textbook, how they were treating diabetes with food. Exactly what I have said. But unfortunately, when we discovered these medicines, doctors educated less and medicated more. I just want to, people say, you ask us not to eat this, then how do I live? My body must run, I need energy. I must tell you, this body is a hybrid machine. It can run on sugar, it can run on fat. If you give it sugar all the time, sugar means including grains. All of us are running only on sugar. That machinery is almost damaged in 90% of the people seated here. Take it from me. You may not be a diabetic, but I'm talking about insulin resistance. But then when you reduce your carbohydrates, the body learns to run on fat. And you have almost 90% of your energy stored in fat, which can last you for 100 days. Your sugar capacity is very small, just 10%, which can last you for 1 day. Just like the small tank of this truck. It can, run for a day, then it has to go to the petrol pump to, refuel. Whereas it has got enough of diesel on its back, but unable to do it because it does not have the plumbing. So also, if you reduce your carbohydrates, the body will, do the necessary plumbing and start using fats, and you can get energy and run from there. All right. So the problem is increased carbohydrate leading to carbohydrate intolerance, leading to insulin resistance, and the culprit is not fat, but sugar and carbohydrate. So the solution, just 2 minutes. There you have low carb, healthy fat diet, and intermittent fasting. You must have heard about. Fasting is fantastic for health. Adike health are. You eat once, you're a yogi. Eat twice, you're a bogi. Eat 3 times, you're a rogi. Eat 4 times, yetgod hogi. So fasting is fantastic. And of course, exercise and de-stressing and sleeping also very important. So what can you have? All non-starch vegetables. Meat, fish, eggs, no problem. Coconut oil, olive oil, nuts, berries, and the fruit that is ideal, miracle fruit, is called avocado. So eat as natural, as organic as possible. If you want more details, just get hold of Arun and he'll pass on the recipe book to you, what to do and how to get this done. Right? My technique is that before every meal I have one big fat ball of vegetable, not just raw, baked. It's stir-fried with oil and fats and whatever you like, butter and ghee. So you have this before every meal, your stomach is full, you get all your vitamins, you get all your minerals and fibers, and you don't feel hungry because you have plenty of fats in that. So do this, that's the trick there. And now even the American government, American Heart Association has made a U-turn regarding fats. The dietary fat has nothing to do with your heart attacks. So you need not fear fats. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. So you may say, how do I get my rice, dosa, idli? Everything can be done from non-grains. You get hold of that book and you'll get more details. All right. And then what happens? This is the best part. Best part is that your appetite comes down, your hunger comes down, your cravings come down. You don't want to eat all the time because fat is satiating. And then your weight automatically drops without the struggle, without sweating. And insulin drops, so insulin resistance comes down, insulin sensitivity goes up, your blood sugar comes down, BP comes down, fatty liver goes away, dental caries disappears, cardiovascular disease decreases. Every possible disease simply disappears because you have addressed the root cause. All right? So all this can be measured at home. You do not believe me. Just you can measure your waist, your weight, your BP, sugar at home itself. There's a study in the US which has shown that going low carb, 60% of the patients reverse their diabetes in 1 year. 94% could reduce the amount of insulin and HbA1c. This is a study from US I'm quoting. All right. So 5 actionable points. Get sugar out of your life, reduce grains, avoid refined oils, never drink your fruit, and the last is most important, don't outsource your food. Now another thing has come back. Why cook at home? It's very simple. Swiggy it. You get from hotel. It is very tasty, very convenient, and cheaper, and saves so much time. Why not do it all the time? But don't forget, every time it's cooked outside, they use all refined stuff to make it tasty and, give you a kick. It's all refined sugars, carbs, and oils, which is very, very bad for us. A poor woman who cooks at home has a better health, better diet than a rich woman who outsources a kitchen. So stop outsourcing this kitchen. This has become a new habit. And if you want to read more about it, this is the book you must go to. I opened this book, and this book opened my eyes. Well, I'll just take 2 more minutes. I've given you facts and figures, but facts and figures don't change behavior. But sometimes stories do. Here's my story. I am 70 years now. I've been diabetic for 25 years, and these are all the problems I had. I was on a daily around 12 tablets a day. And just see what happened when I started this kind of a diet. Every single thing simply decided. I couldn't, I was almost putting a kg every year, and suddenly within 6 months to 1 year, 10 kgs disappeared. And every parameter came down, including my biological age. You start reversing your age. You start aging backwards. That's exactly what's happened. And so now I am back to my high school weight, high school health, and high school feeling. That's what's happened. And look at my blood parameters. With 12 tablets, you have there on one side 80 kgs, and everything with the tablets still, triglycerides 330, very alarming. And then once we gave up, took care of the diet, all these tablets disappeared, and the readings are much, much, much better than what these tablets could do. What does it mean? That food is more powerful than all the tablets that man has created. So you need to just eat the right thing, and everything will get in place. And this one thing I want to share with you, ladies. After one of my talks went viral, people started flocking to me. I am an eye surgeon. I run a eye hospital. Sir, you tell us what you did, and let's see, I also want to follow. So in the last almost 8 to 10 months, we have seen more than almost now 5,000 patients, and look at these results. Average weight loss 1 to 2 kgs a day, and 100 and odd people have simply got off insulin, and see that more than 600 people have gone off medication. Have you ever heard of one person, reversing the diabetes? And now it is such a simple way. The 40 years of my practice has given me name, fame, wealth, everything, but not this kind of satisfaction. Not this kind of fulfillment. What I've been doing now. My wife is worried. What is this you built? Took 40 years to build such a institute. What have you changed? I said, this gives me more satisfaction. This is more fulfilling. That's why wherever I get an opportunity, I keep telling them. So, what I'm trying to tell you, friends, is that the greatest healthcare crisis that is threatening humanity has got such a simple, safe, scientific, natural, and cost-effective treatment. Yes. I think it was in the year 1925, at your international convention, Helen Keller knocked on the doors of the lions there, and she appealed to the lions to become knights for the blind. And for the last 98 years, you people have done some wonderful work. Outstanding, remarkable results. There is no doubt about it. Today, I stand before you. I am again knocking on your door. And my request is that let's join hands to create awareness, to create a movement, to create history, to create a healthy humanity. And the solution is cost. It needs no money. It needs no doctor. It needs no hospital. All it needs is the will. And I'm sure the Lions will do this, and you'll see a healthier humanity in future. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Impressive, remarkable inaugural speech for a function like this. We never had such a address by anybody in the previous, according to our knowledge. Health is wealth, and this, can we maintain silence, please? As we go on in our life, where we come to know that health is life. So there is a lot of messages in this. And what you have said, what not to be done, majority of us are doing it, perhaps all the one. And the restrictive acts of our wives will be more now, taking you as an example, and she will be worried what our dieting is going to be. What not to be eaten, we are eating. What is to be eaten, we are not eating. Now, how to change that habit, it is about our perception and our commitment. Sanjit is already busy in changing the menu of today's program, sir, whether it can be done or not. So we can easily blame the things on you, because we have a lavish food now. Now it is going to be something of a diet naturing one. So be ready for that, ladies and gentlemen. And if it is a lavish one, it is up to your wisdom to use it. But anyway, on a hospitality part, we are there at your service at all the time. One of the finest messages, that service to humanity is the best work of life, and no asset, no amount of assets can match that. That is the biggest message what you are given, and perhaps the most apt one. And we are very lucky to have such a person of such a magnitude, philanthropy, and such a community service oriented person as the inaugurator of today's function. Ladies and gentlemen, very big round of applause for this great gentleman called Dr. Bhujang Shetty. As a token of gesture, I request our multiple council chairperson and all the dignitaries on the front side to honor our inaugurator, Dr. Bhujang Shetty, on this.